Hi, my name is Glenn Beatty, U.S. Life Master. This is Volume 4 in our series on the Sicilian Najdorf variation. In this video, we will examine Fischer, Sozin's attack, flank variation, 7, bishop to b3, b5. The Najdorf variation is one of the Sicilian defense most respected and deeply studied of all chess openings. Modern chess openings call it the Cadillac or Rose Royce of chess openings. The opening is named after the Polish-Argentinian Grandmaster Mikhail Najdorf. Many players have lived by the Najdorf, notably Bobby Fischer and Garry Kasparov, although Garry Kasparov will often transpose into a Savinian. The Najdorf was introduced by the Viennan Sozin in the 1930s. This received little attention until Fischer regularly adopted it, and it was a frequent guest at the top level through the 70s. White plays bishop to c4 with the idea of playing against f7, so black counters with e6, bishop to b3, b5. The Sozin has become less popular because of e6, bishop to b3, knight b to d7, where black intends to follow up with knight to c5 later. It is possible to avoid the knight b to d7 option with the 7 castle by white, but this cuts the aggressive possibilities to castle long. We will examine 5 games in this variation of the Sicilian defense. Let's begin. The Najdorf variation. The Fischer-Sozin attack. Black's most aggressive line against the Sozin. Fischer believed that black should play b4 as soon as possible, indirectly defending the e4 pawn and preparing to castle long. White will attack black's kingside with his pieces instead of his pawns. Black must be on the lookout for e5, attacking his rook and knight. Black will go after the typical but strong plan of attacking white's e4 pawn with the idea of knight b to d7, c5, bishop to b7. And if white tries to save his light square with bishop to a3, black will snap it off. Black must react energetically to white's oncoming attack. Every move is important. These kind of positions are not about material conquest, but about king conquest. The rook is the correct rook to place on the c file because it leaves the f8 square empty for black's king. White is forced to sacrifice his bishop. If the bishop moves, black will play knight takes e4, winning material. Therefore, white destroys black's protected cover and enables his knight access to d5, although he paid the price of a piece. White attempts to activate his rook on d1 with this move. Black defended well and emerged a piece up. White resigned. The game is over. Black will penetrate the second rank with devastating effects. Let's look at another game. Bishop to e7 instead of the active b5. This is a solid choice by Black. He wants to castle first before embarking on queenside play with b5. G4 is another variation. White decides to attack in this game with his pawns instead of his major pieces. Black must be careful. White pawn storm can become dangerous. A good move. Black keeps his knight centralized. Notice the difference in variations? When White attacked with his major pieces, queen to f3, rook to e1, rook to e3, Black had time for the maneuver, knight b to d7, knight c5. In this game, because White elected to attack with his pawns on the king wing, Black attacked White's center immediately. An attack on the wing is best countered by an attack in the center. White won a pawn but activated Black once passive rook. And Black wins. Let's go back to White's seventh move, and instead of g4 he bangs out bishop to e3. A conservative move. We're going to look at bishop to e7, bishop to e3 instead of g4. Castle, queen to e2, getting ready to castle queenside. Let's go back. This is the position. Sorry, after castle, b4, crushing a4 and the c file. This is an excellent defensive piece. The bishop on f6. It protects Black's king side and attacks White's along the a1 h8 diagonal. Note, the bishop on f6 is fianchetto without the structural weaknesses of h6 and f6. It is difficult for white to attack black because black can communicate along the 7th rank, setting up a fluent defense. If queen takes d6, bishop takes b6, wins a piece, guarding d6. And black is winning. Rook to f7, black is just a piece up. Let's go back. So when we look at now, and we're going to look at after bishop to e7, castle, white castle. This variation. The problem with this position for white is the e pawn is very weak. Removing the defender of e5. Picking up his piece again. But let's just take a second to look at this position. Black is better because white will always have the weak pawn on e5, and c2 can come under attack because black pawn is on b4. So black is better in this position. Let's look at a couple of moves. Black wins a pawn. Sacrificing the exchange. Very interesting sack. But the reason why this sack works so well is because the knight on b2 and the bishop on c3 imprison white rook on b1. And he's forced to give it up. And look at that, a3 comes. And black went on to win this game. Let's look at our last and final game in this variation I would like to show, and that is with the if black plays b knight to d7. If e5, pawn takes, queen c7, f takes e6, queen check, picking up material, winning the piece back. And this game is around even, but black is alright in this position. The reason why the bishop to c5 Sozin is not played nowadays is because black have the excellent counter reply, b knight to d7. Also b5 is good. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Good chess. Cheers.